Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about proper tip care for your soldering iron. First point will be how to keep it good for a long time. Second, we will talk about how to know if your tip isn't working well and how to clean it. As for keeping it good a long time, this soldering iron, I have not used this in probably 3 to 6 months. So you can see there's some corrosion on the tip. There's some black and yellow. That's both from the flux in the solder and the corrosion. I'm going to turn my soldering iron on and show you what a good clean soldering iron looks like. My iron is now at 650 degrees Fahrenheit. And my solder should be kind of melty. So I take my sponge and I just clean it off. Now if your soldering iron is good, it should be shiny all the way around. But as you can see here, there's little bits of black around the tip right here. So we need to try to get rid of that. So what we do is we take some solder. This is a regular rosin flux solder. And you just flood your tip with solder and try to give it a good wipe there. And as it starts to come off, you can switch over to your brass and just give it a quick wipe. This area here should be almost entirely this silver color. So our goal is just to try to get rid of that last little bit of black there. And we want our soldering iron to look somewhat like this. Now admittedly, this iron is very old, so you don't have a nice clean line at this point here. The type of solder that we use at my work are these 3 types of solder. When you finish working with your soldering iron and you're ready to put it away, you just need a thin coat of solder on there and turn it off. And then as your soldering iron sits for a long period of time when it's not being used, the solder will corrode, but it should keep your iron good. So you can usually just give it a quick wipe and it comes back to being nice and shiny. Now, how do you know if your soldering iron is working like it's supposed to? What should happen is when you put your solder onto your iron, it should stay where you put it. If your solder rolls off, whether it goes up or down or just falls right off, your solder iron is not clean and you need to try to clean it. And as I said before, the easiest way to do that is just to take a solder with a rosin flux in it and just flood it with solder, like a whole lot of solder, and give it a quick wipe in your brass, and hopefully it comes back out nice and shiny. It should be this silver color, not a dull gray or a black with yellow in it. If your tip is not becoming that silver color when you clean it off and you can't get it clean, then your tip is no longer good. An example of that is this one right here. This turned a jet black. This was a brand new soldering tip. I only used it for maybe 10 minutes and it turned this jet black color. It should be silver between these 2 points and it could not be cleaned. You could spend 5-10 minutes cleaning this black off and it turns back to black very quickly after using it. When you are using your soldering iron, whether you're soldering on a circuit board or wires, you should be cleaning the tip off so that it looks like this every second or third time you make a solder joint. You should never get to the point where it looks black or it starts to look kind of like a dull off gray color. Here's an example of what should not happen. You put your solder on and see, it doesn't stick to the iron at all. It just rolls right off. This is a sign of a soldering tip that is no good. That solder should stay over this whole area. And with this one, it does not clean. You can't get the solder to stick to it. Tip tinner will not work. So all I really end up with is this tiny little spot at the end here that holds solder. And that's not good enough to work with. Problems you will see with stuff like this is getting a really poor solder joint. Like you might get a wire on a pad where the solder only melts on one side of the pad and the other side just looks like a hole. A good solder tip should last a long time. I hope some people found this helpful and everyone has a good day.